reading science and actually reading other nonfiction texts too can be a little bit tough. And part of the reason for that is that a lot of times in nonfiction, they stuff a whole lot of information into just a few sentences. So you have to read more slowly, and sometimes you have to move a little bit carefully in order to get all the pieces of information that have been crammed in there. Today I'm going to teach you a strategy called coding that can help you with reading difficult text. Here are the codes that we're going to use. The first one is an exclamation mark. And we're going to stick that next to any sentences that we think are, or any sections of sentences that we think are especially important. The second code is a check mark, for I knew that. Because sometimes when you read stuff, you're like, you know what, I already knew about that. And that is just, got it. Then there's the X, and that means that the thing that you're reading is different from what you thought. And the question mark is just a general, I don't understand. So it could be I have a specific question about this, or it could just be a generic, like, this sentence is not making sense to me, or this section is not making sense to me. So just those 4 codes, and I'm going to show you now how to use them, reading through a portion of an article that you're going to read today. All right. Get it where we can all see it. Every sport has an elaborate list of rules for keeping things fair. In track, runners start at different places along the oval race course, depending on what lane they're in. Oh yeah, I know that. I remember seeing that on a track when I was a kid and seeing that there were all these different start places. Runners in the innermost lanes are behind those in the outermost ones. That way, the athletes in the outside lanes don't have a longer distance to run than the athletes in the inside lanes. See figure 1. Okay, anytime you're reading science and it says something about an illustration, a diagram, a figure, you always want to look at it. And here it says the outside and inside track lanes, and I can see how this is physically longer than this line here. If I tried to like smush them together, this one would just maybe come there and there. Okay, that seems like it might be important, so I'm going to put an exclamation mark there. In soccer, teams trade sides halfway through the game in case one side of the field is easier to play on. I remember that from when I played soccer. In Olympic swimming, the 2 outer lanes of the pool aren't used because those lanes have rougher waves that are more difficult to swim through. You know what? That is not what I thought. I always thought those outer lanes were not used because that people might bump into the wall or something. Okay, so you can see that I went through here and I put codes in the places where I felt like I should put codes, but I didn't put a code for every sentence. I just put it in the places where I had a little bit of a reaction or I thought about something and wanted to make a response. And so I would expect about this many codes, 2 to 4 probably per a chunk of text this size. So today you are going to read the article that this came out of, which is actually a science article. And you're going to put codes in. And you can either print it out and write your codes on like I've done here, and then take a picture of it and send it in to me. Or you can go into Google Docs and use the comment feature or make your type colored so you can just do insert, if you're using red, change it to red so that when you put the marks in that there'll be colors where I can see them. So that's going to be your assignment for today, is to just practice this coding. Even if you don't find this particular article very difficult to read, it's practice for the strategy of coding, which you can use later and which we will use later when reading some more complicated articles and things.